We're starting by laughing this episode. Welcome back to the podcast. Happy Tuesday. We're starting with laughter because we have so many great things to talk about, so much fun to have, and some fun photos to share. And there's so many things. One of the things we're going to talk about in a minute, we're going to talk about the whole Ferrari interior thing, and I cannot wait to get your thoughts there. We have good news up front, lots of varied news up front. We have everything. A good, cool topic Tuesday on revived nameplates, and I know why this got asked, and I'm going to touch on that too.
Okay.
We're going to talk about all the events we have coming up, 2 good car debates, probably get to car conclusions, but it really depends on how far into the rest of this we get. And then we have questions from you as well. So there's a lot, so we're going to dive right in. But I have to give a celebratory moment for me.
Okay.
I'm so excited.
All right.
It only took a year.
Oh, yes.
Season 12, which is stuff from a little while back, is stuff after TV ended for us. We were on TV. We're on Motor Trend Cable Channel until that decided to kind of take a slide, and now it kind of no longer exists. So we were off of there starting in about 2024, and I have been working to get our updated stuff from YouTube, some of our biggest stuff, to still get that on Amazon. And I won't bore you with all of the stuff, but it only took a year to actually get through Amazon's upload process. And of course, we have plenty of stuff on Amazon already, all of our first 11 seasons, but I did what is called season 12, but it's longer than the stuff on the TV seasons. We've got a couple of 1-hour pieces up there. Our South Dakota trip is up there, which is awesome. It's actually one of my favorite road trips we've ever done, as is Price of Fun.
I love Price of Fun.
So I'm excited for you. And I'm excited for you guys to be able to see it on Amazon. So that has finally gotten through all the approvals and it's up. I'm mentioning it not because it doesn't exist elsewhere. It exists right here on this channel, but because for reasons I don't understand, but I'm thankful, I have to send a super heavy duty master to Amazon, like super high quality master, much higher than I send to YouTube. And then Amazon takes it and does the compression themselves. And anytime I've watched our stuff on Amazon Prime, it's looked better than anywhere else. So this is where to watch our big stuff.
That's the point.
And have it look awesome and have it look like TV. And my hope also, and as this happened, many of you have mentioned this, is that you'll be watching something else on Amazon and it'll just show it to you as a you might like this. And people have found our show that way, and I'm thrilled by that. I hope that continues. It's bummed me out for literally like the past year. I keep kind of pinging because I'm talking to a monolith. Like I have a question, it's like where?
The phone doesn't ring at Amazon,
exactly right.
Microsoft.
So anyway,
Nvidia.
but hey, thankfully, look, I finally got somebody very helpful, genuinely very helpful in the help area. After it took a while, and they were like, "We'll fix these things," and I got it fixed, so it's up. So you can watch season 12 right now on Amazon. It does cost a little bit of money, but we appreciate that support immensely because, as you probably heard from all of the people you follow, YouTube is getting harder and harder to make any money off of, but we're glad to be there as well. Thank you guys for watching, for listening. We are thrilled by that. Let's get into other news that has nothing to do with us, but is sure fun to talk about.
Let's do it. Well, I want to start out with filmmaking and related directly to F1 because you might have seen the Cadillac F1 livery has been revealed. I think at this point for 2026, all F1 teams have revealed their livery, including Cadillac. But apparently Michael Bay sued Cadillac F1 team because they had consulted him for ideas on how to reveal the car properly, but ended up not going with him. So I guess my question as a filmmaker, as you are, how does one go about determining that, well, you stole my ideas or you didn't use my ideas and you went in a different direction? Because, of course, there's 2 different stories. It was we consulted you first. We ended up going a different direction. There will probably be a settlement. $1.5 million for Michael Bay, I think, falls out of his pockets because he...
Yes.
So it comes down to principle. It's not about the money. It's about the principle of things. And so protecting ideas before they're actually shot, well, you're discussing, and was he actually hired? Do you know the story here? Was he actually hired before they actually went and shot the reveal video to reveal during the Super Bowl?
Look, I have no inside information here, but I'll give you what from what I've read and what I understand, I'll tell you what I think. Okay? That's as far as I can go. Cadillac is saying they had an ad agency and an idea before they talked to Michael Bay, and that they executed a variation of their idea post talking to Michael Bay. So they are, quote, disappointed that he's suing.
Right. I read that part.
The reality is this is going to go into some sort of arbitration. And it'll probably wind up somewhere between what Michael Bay wants and what Cadillac wants. And this is, for lack of a better way to put it, this is pissing on your territory. That's what this is about. Okay, this is saying, hey, I was consulted. And look, Michael Bay came out of Art Center where you went to school, and he was instantly wildly successful as a car commercial director. That's actually the stuff I think to this day. If you look at his films, like The Island is a great example, which is a movie not a lot of people have seen. Phenomenal car chase scene in there. He shoots car chases. This is why he's good at shooting the Transformers movies. Anytime he's shooting car chases, they're phenomenally well done.
Pepsi commercials too?
He's done Pepsi, he's done BMW, he's done a lot of stuff. Yeah. Really, really high-end car chases. He does really, really well. It makes sense to ask him. The problem in Hollywood, I had a friend of mine tell me once, and this made my blood run cold until it happened to me. He said, you're not successful in Hollywood until somebody sues you. And I was like, what a terrible way to have an outlook. But there's a lot of lawsuits flying around in Hollywood in general, and they always end up falling in some level of arbitration. So this will go somewhere. We'll see what it was. But, I mean, he didn't actually direct the commercial. And this gets back to your question.
Right.
Ideas are almost impossible to defend in court.
I mean, it's an idea. We had a conversation. We threw ideas around. That's great. That's great. No, let's do something different. And then, well, who owns that? How can you defend against it? It wasn't in writing, and it wasn't a contract.
Execution can be defended in court. Ideas cannot. And so a conversation you had at a table, unless somebody's got a transcript that they can pull out, is going to be next to impossible. Now, what happens in things like screenplays, is if you can show something unique to your idea, let me rephrase, unique to your execution, that would not have come out of somebody seeing your execution, that winds up in somebody else's work, you can win. And I'll give you one of the best examples that I can think of off the top of my head. There was a movie, it's 20 plus years ago now, but called Amistad. Okay, was this about a slave ship?
Yep.
Okay,
remember it.
There was a lawsuit because there was an original writer, and I forget her name, but there was an original writer with that idea that submitted it to Steven Spielberg's company. All right, and after Amistad came out, and it was after the movie came out, she sued that ideas from her script had been taken for the movie Amistad. Now, Amistad was a historical thing. Okay, so Amblin Entertainment, Universal, whoever it was that actually got sued, said, look, this is a historical thing. But she won, and here's why. Because in her script that Spielberg and others claim they'd never read, but somebody at Amblin had read, in her script there was a emancipated black lawyer who in the movie was played by Morgan Freeman. Okay? That person didn't exist in history. She made him up in her version.
Okay.
So since her script had that version, she had proof that it had been sent to his production company before he made the movie, and they made a historical film that claimed to have no awareness of her thing, but had that character. That's why she won. Because you could see that it was able connective tissue to be like, that was executed a specific way, and you took it. Okay? That's very, very hard to prove. I think Michael Bay's...
Most blatant in that example.
Exactly. I think Michael Bay's out on a limb here, but he'll probably get some money as just go away.
On the other hand, in Michael Bay's defense, he has influenced filmmaking
completely,
dramatically.
Of course.
There is a Michael Bay effect. You can
you blow something up in the background. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, his name.
Yeah, for sure.
Most people don't know the director's name of commercials or films.
True.
They know the main actor.
Right.
They know Tom Cruise.
Yep.
They know Matt Damon.
Yep.
They know the big name actors, whoever that is, generally speaking.
Sure.
But to know directors and to get it, that means you're kind of into that, a little bit. And he has definitely created that. And so in his defense, I would have preferred the Cadillac F1 team to go forward with Michael Bay because I think the reveal would have been better. I thought it was fine, but I don't know for the amount of production that probably went into it. I think it was just okay. The car looks great.
It looks pretty cool.
Taking off like rocket and then some CG and then, we spun around the car. I think Michael Bay could have done a better job, personally.
We'll see.
I speak for me.
Yeah, there's no way to know. This is one of those lawsuits that was splashy page one stuff now and will die on the back page.
I wanted bad boys spinning up around and, the cool...
Yeah.
I'm speaking for me. The second part of this is about Formula One, the movie, being nominated for 4 Oscars. I usually don't pay attention to Oscars, including Best Picture.
Yes.
I'm sorry,
yes.
What?
Well, I hate to say it this way, but
I'm sorry?
A few years back, it's been a little while ago, but a few years back, they expanded the Best Picture nomination option to 10. And they did that in order to allow movies like F1, which aren't they're not prestige Oscar-winning movies, but they were successful movies, to allow movies like that to wind up listed for Best Picture because they know that'll make more people watch the Oscars. This is an actual ploy.
Aha.
So typically now what you find, because there's 10 available, and not all 10 always get filled.
5. They doubled them, right?
4 or 5. So they doubled it. And so the reality is they don't always do 10. They have to get submitted by producers. But you've got Jerry Bruckheimer. Jerry Bruckheimer is not known for making, he's a Michael Bay producer. He's not known for making Oscar-winning films. But by putting F1 there, literally, I'll get cynical. This is the reality. By having F1 nominated for Best Picture, folks that don't care about any other movie nominated might watch. And folks,
that would be me.
Exactly. And folks go, oh, that means Brad Pitt will be there. They can count on Brad Pitt being there because he's a producer.
Okay.
But you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's a producer. So Brad Pitt will come. That's the thing. There is a reality to this. This is the same reason you nominate like a Mission Impossible movie for special effects, because Tom Cruise is a producer. But Best Picture, producers get nominated. So Brad Pitt's a producer. Tom Cruise is a producer. So this is the thing. They expanded the reality so that you end up with people and movies that people care about in mass success movies.
Right.
Wind up nominated for Oscars, and they wouldn't have otherwise. So that's why they did it.
But slim chance that this will win Best Picture, but
Almost
to be
none.
able to say that it's been nominated
for sure.
is a better, I guess, a bigger, better honor.
For sure, yeah.
Because there's a second one coming, a sequel coming.
Yes, which I heard somebody online joke, please call it F2, which made me laugh. But
We stepped down.
but
It's the second movie, but we stepped down to the feeder
I'll
series.
stay in Oscars for a second, because there's a funny thing that's happened as a result of going to 10. They've also changed the voting style. You used to just vote, I think X should be Best Picture. Okay. But now they require you to rank your 1 through 10. So what's interesting is there's been a few.
What does that give them? What information does that?
Because they end up with the movie, and I don't remember the name for it, but they end up with the movie with the highest total potential score of all the votes. You may be the movie that everybody thought was the second place runner for Best Picture or third place runner for Best. Everybody said that movie should be that's third most likely to win. But 1 and 2 constantly changed. The movie that's in number 3 will win, because averaging out all of the votes, it wins. There's been multiple movies. One of the most debated was the movie Green Book a few years back.
Okay.
Won Best Picture. And everybody went, why on earth? But it was because in consensus voting, it was the average highest. There were much more critically acclaimed movies ahead of it, but not everybody liked those movies. So this is the other thing that happened. So no, F1's not going to win, but weird outliers.
But you're saying there's a chance.
Weird outliers win because of this averaging of the
fascinated by
voting.
that.
It's bizarre.
It just means they can justify making a sequel, which I'm fine with.
Yeah.
I was perfectly fine with the movie. It was great.
Yep.
I like that they're doing it. Great. It was great. It was fine. It was great.
It's a popcorn movie, and frankly, they
Yes.
need popcorn movies to make the Oscars interesting, and that was the whole reason they expanded that category.
Right, because usually it's the list of movies that you've never heard of, and it's been voted on, and
That you've only seen if you really, really pay attention to Oscar-style
Exactly.
movies. Yeah.
Griot's Garage is our official car care partner and one of the first ever sponsors of our show. They don't just make great car care products, they want you to get out and drive.
Griot's is a family-owned company, and they've been a part of every one of our road trips. We always take speed shine on every shoot, helping us spot clean cars in a moment's notice.
Griot's foaming glass cleaner is the quickest and best way we've ever found to get windows clean before a big day of driving. Griot's is always releasing new and improved products, like their updated wash bucket too.
Plus, all of Griot's liquid products are 100% guaranteed and made right here in the U.S. The Griot's folks are always happy to answer any questions you have and make sure you get the right product and the right results.
So get the best quality car care products out there from a company that has always supported this show. Our audience can always get at least 10% off by using the code DRIVER10 at griotsgarage.com. All right, moving on to now the subject that we have all been waiting for. You saw it get released not too long ago. Ferrari has not only revealed the interior for their new EV, but they've also inadvertently, but maybe on purpose, revealed the name for their next EV, well, their first EV, meaning illumination in Italian. So they've partnered with a design studio called Love From to come up with a fresh new look for Ferrari. Here is that interior. Here's the driver's view of that interior.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't believe the marketing.
there was actually some level of press reveal, because there were folks that came to a studio and saw this in person and walked around it and were given all of the dog and pony show of an interior. And of course, it matters not only because it's Ferrari, but because it's Johnny Ive and Mark Newson, who have done, and you've talked about both of them before on this podcast, and you know so much more about design than I do. So I'm going to let you run for a while.
Okay.
I'm going to give my uneducated opinion first,
all right,
and then I'm going to let you do good stuff.
Totally fine.
Okay. I love that this is continuing. Go back like 2 episodes. We talked about screens suck on one of our last episodes, okay? And we talked about how important it is to have tactility in a car. Things you can duplicate, stuff that you can have muscle memory. It's not all just touch screens, okay? We're talking about Johnny Ive, the original designer of the iPhone, all right? So, of course, this has some real iPhone feel about it. It does, like first iPhone feel and rounded edges and black and silver, and has a lot of his things, a lot of his signature things.
Yeah.
There's definitely screens here, but there's, if I understand it, the gauges in front of the driver, the needles are real.
Yeah.
And it's circling a screen that has a digital readout underneath the needle,
sort
which
of
is
screen within a screen.
So you're creating depth.
Yeah.
But you're talking about a steering wheel here that the steering wheel just by itself, forget the pods on it, the steering wheel looks like something out of a 1960s car, which is really cool. Yeah. And we're talking about actual toggles and actual buttons. They exist. There's stuff to interact with here. Having said that, I have 3 headlines, and then I got to give it over to you because you're going to do it right. But my 3 headlines are this. I love this interior.
Okay.
I love the thinking of this interior because we're getting away from just screens. We're getting industrial design back. We've got tactility and interaction, and I love that. It looks very much like the 2 guys it came from. Nothing about this says Ferrari to me. Nothing about it says Ferrari, other than the fact it has Ferrari badges. You could take the Ferrari badges off. You could make it any other brand, and it would work. What I'm seeing here is Ferrari is releasing the Apple car.
Yes.
This is Ferrari gets the chance to release the Apple car that Johnny Ive never got to release. So that's my issue with it. I don't think there's anything about it that is Ferrari. And it's going to wind up in a car. I'm going to call my shot now. Okay. It's going to wind up in a Ferrari that may be the most easily to get Ferrari of all time, because no one's going to care about an all-EV SUV from Ferrari. The only way this thing's going to sell is one of 2 ways. Discounts to the people that want to say they have a Ferrari and really like EVs, which that's a minuscule part of the market, or people that are required to buy one to buy the Ferrari they really want.
Like the Aston Martin Signet?
Exactly. This is going to be the Ferrari that lands with a thud. An EV Ferrari. We've already seen the whole market shift away from EVs. This is an EV Ferrari. Yeah. Just this week, there was press that Porsche is having actual meetings about, do we even care about going forward with the 718 Cayman and Boxster in EV, or are we going to kill it entirely? There's no actual news on it yet.
Yes, please kill it.
But for a while they've been saying EV and internal combustion, or maybe hybrid.
If it's
but
both, fine.
Apparently there's meetings about, do we kill the project entirely? This is an EV Ferrari. Ferraris you only buy to make a statement. You don't buy for the environment. You don't care. You are a consumer at first blush because you bought a Ferrari. You're not protecting anything, not even your own wallet. You're buying a Ferrari. This will land with a thud, and it has this non-Ferrari interior in it. This is either in a Ferrari collector's collection at the back collecting dust, or it's a car you have to buy to get the one you want, or you're going to get these for a song. Those are my thoughts.
That's really good. I'm going to agree with an asterisk.
Great. I want to, you're going to do
because
this better
I'm going to try to sell it to you.
Okay. All right. Go for it.
I'm going to try to sell everything here to you, to you, to us. I'm going to try.
Imagine this is a Honda. You'd go, yeah.
I love this. If that were Mercedes, Genesis maybe. But
it could be a Honda tomorrow.
Honda tomorrow. Yes. 100%. It's more than a name. It's a vision.
Oh, God.
It is not defining a technology, but a philosophy. Electrification as a means, not an end. A new era where design, engineering, and imagination converge into something that did not exist before. I take issue with that. Continuing on, simple, pure, and evocative, Luce becomes a symbol of clarity and inspiration, expressing Ferrari's approach to motivation, uncompromising vision, transparent design, silent energy that is felt in every fiber, form, shape by function.
This is how Paul reads the press release, everybody. There it is. Saw through it.
Controls are inspired by both historic automotive cues and the purposeful, clear graphics found in aviation, particularly helicopters and aircraft, which at first I took issue with, but as a matter of fact, before Enzo founded Ferrari, he actually had a machine tool company, and during World War II, they were building aircraft parts. So it's a thin thread, but we'll pull on it and we'll give it to Enzo Ferrari and say, okay, there is some very thin aircraft manufacturing background, even though it wasn't Ferrari, it was the prior company that did that.
Sure.
Right. So
okay.
we'll give that to
with
him.
you.
But here we go. We've got this new interior. And I'm in agreement with Todd. At first I thought, oh, this is just the expression of Johnny Ive to do the interior that he wanted to do for the Apple car, and maybe did a slight tweak here and there. But because the Apple car never existed and he has now left Apple, he had to get it out of his system. And so here it is manifested. And then Ferrari came knocking and he went, aha, let's do that.
I already have sketches.
As a matter of fact, it's already done.
Totally,
Here you go.
Yeah.
I want to introduce to you the men at Ferrari that you need to familiarize yourself. Benedetto Vigna, the CEO currently of Ferrari. John Elkann sitting down. You could consider him to be the Elkann family is like the Kennedys in Italy. They're okay. He is the grandson of the Agnelli founder, so former CEO of Ferrari. Flavio Manzoni in the middle. He is an architect, but also a car designer, and he is the current styling director for Ferrari. He has done the Purosangue, he's done the F12, a lot of really great, interesting, unique cars. But Ferrari has obviously hired Johnny Ive here in the blue suit from Apple, and on the far right is Mark Newson, famous furniture designer. Johnny Ive and Mark Newson have love from, this is a consultancy, they pick and choose their clients. They tell clients to go away. Just want you to know who these people are behind this. Again, dead shot here of the interior. I think it's fantastic design. And again,
I agree with you. I think looking straight on, I think that is spectacularly good looking. It is the best I've seen of somebody takes perfect 60s retro styling and makes it now. It's not Ferrari, but I think it looks amazing. I want to interact with that interior.
Here's the binnacle with more of the aircraft inspired. So you can see it's screen here, but then it's a dual gauge, sort of dual layer screen. And I do like the mix of electrification. The screen, the analog gauges, I like this interaction. I think it's so well done. Simple and clean is hard to do, but simple and clean comes from a time period.
True.
When that's all you knew how to do.
Yeah, when that's all they could do. Yeah, for sure.
Here is the console with the Corning Gorilla Glass that is machined for the shift knob to put it in gear. So it's a nice close-up of the binnacle. Again, simple, clean, relatable. Hot dog shapes. Notice a lot of these hot dog shapes.
That little key that looks like something, it looks like the shape and scale, if you will, of a deck of cards, like a mini deck of cards. You know what a mini deck of cards looks like?
Oh,
that
sure.
That key looks like a mini deck of cards with a Ferrari logo on it.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but that looks like some trinket you bought off the internet.
Okay. Let's dive in, shall we?
Please.
Showing in 1959 Ferrari 250 GT long wheelbase Scaglietti Spider convertible Competizione.
Okay.
These are my photos that I took from Pebble Beach Monterey Weekend 2014, and I knew that I was going to pull them out someday and use them for some purpose.
Today's the day, everybody.
Today's that day.
Okay.
I want you to check out the interior. Familiar shapes in this interior with the hot dog surround, a lot of circular instrument panels, circular gauges that feel automotive.
Yeah.
They feel like watchmaking. They feel like aerospace. Interesting, simple, clean. Here is now a 1956 Ferrari 250 GT Alloy Buono Coupe. Very beautiful. Late 50s. Look at this interior. Look at the door panel. Look at the simple, clean shapes. Look at the thin, nardy steering wheel, the triple spoke.
The old wood-rimmed steering wheels with very simple spokes. I mean, that's very much the style that we're talking about here, except they need to take the either the circles or the gaps back on the steering wheel.
You don't like the gaps?
No, I'm saying we need them in the updated design.
Oh, yes. This would be nice
missing.
And referential. I agree. I agree to that. So you're starting to see a through line, even though at first the Newson interior, the Johnny Ive, the love from interior for Ferrari doesn't really seem Ferrari, but look at the shapes. Moving on to a 1958 Ferrari 250 Testarossa Scaglietti Spider. Here is that beautiful, like achingly, scrumptiously beautiful car.
It's a great looking car, for sure.
Here's the rear shot. I mean, everything is so resolved.
Yep. Yeah, it's awesome.
It could be carved out of marble. You'd be like, yes.
Well, and what's so funny is this is the era when they weren't designing for aerodynamics. They were just going, well, what seems like a slippery shape? Like draw it on a napkin.
So, for sure. So I'm wanting you to see beautiful, voluptuous shapes combined with these very simple, you can see where that interior is starting to come from. Because at first, I saw the love from interior. Is that what we're calling it?
I guess that's the brand.
The Luce interior?
Yeah. The Luce interior. Let's go with that, yeah.
I saw that and I thought, oh, that's not very Ferrari-like. Well, actually, let's go back to some referential to some
I see where you're going.
very significant historical models. And then, of course, here's the short wheelbase. Here's that car from the Gooding auction.
The Ferris Bueller Day Off car, yeah.
That's the short wheelbase California Spider with the interior, simple, clean, circular gauges, hot dog shapes. Here they are with all those toggle switches.
If you have the means, I highly recommend picking one up.
Yeah, this particular car, I can't believe how beautiful it is. But again, look at this interior combined with the voluptuous exterior.
Sure, okay.
Because at this point, I'm thinking the interior has been revealed. There is not a chance the exterior does not exist.
Well, and I saw some picture that was like a
exists.
guest picture of the exterior. You know it exists. You know it does, yeah.
For sure, because you might be asking, well, that kind of simple, clean interior cannot work with a beautiful, voluptuous, modern, striking Ferrari kind of interior. Well, I'm arguing that it can. So now moving on to Mark Newson. He is a furniture designer. He really came onto the map back in the 80s. I believe it was the 80s with the Lockheed Lounge. Here it is. This is a famous, famous piece. You can see why it's named the Lockheed Lounge. So aircraft and voluptuous shapes manifested in a lounge.
It's riveted metal that makes a chaise lounge.
Correct.
That looks like, for those of you who can't see it, it looks kind of like a bean on feet. It does. It looks like a metal bean on feet. I know. I know. I've just offended you and everyone that likes furniture. I know,
much.
But I'm just trying to get those of you that can't see it to see what I'm seeing. I mean, it does.
Stretched. It's taffy chewing gum. It's a voluptuous, beautiful shape. Okay, so you start to see.
I don't even want to know how much that cost.
Aesthetic. If you can even find them, these kinds of pieces don't get sold at stores. They get auctioned by Sotheby's and Christie's.
Will this sit in the corner
Bonhams.
next to the EV Ferrari that's going to be collecting dust? Will this be sitting next to it?
Absolutely. And I'm going somewhere with your collecting dust thought.
Okay, go on.
Moving on to the second notable piece from Mark Newson, and that is the embryo chair. You can also see similar kinds of design aesthetic.
This is a leather bean with feet. I'm sorry. I know I'm offending you, but I'm trying to help the people that can't see it.
Double bean with feet.
Yeah, exactly.
Polished aluminum, maybe stainless. And then finally, the wooden chair. So it's slatted, but you can see this where this aesthetic is coming from. So I just wanted to introduce you to Mark Newson's work if you weren't already familiar. But in 1999, Ford hired Mark Newson.
They did.
To design a car. And he did.
And we've talked about this before. And when you look at this thing, it's like a Fiat 500 kind of aesthetic. That's the closest to an actual car that got made I can think of, is the Fiat 500 aesthetic. It's rounder than that, but when you see this thing, it looks like it could have been the Apple car. So now you see the way these two guys work together in this interior. Completely, you
100%.
do. Yeah, for sure.
So this was named the 021C or the 021C, however you like to call it, and that is named after the particular Pantone color, the shade of Pantone orange that it was originally painted. So here is that car, and now they repainted it. I actually forget what particular shade this is, but now it's a bright chartreuse, almost green. Yeah, bright safety yellow green. So you can see the aesthetics of this car, the soft form language, very clean, simple, full surfaces. And now what I'm saying is that I think the Luce exists already.
I think you're right. I think you're right. Yeah, for sure.
They just haven't revealed it.
I think you're absolutely right.
They've decided to reveal the interior first for whatever reason instead of both together. Maybe they're still working out a few. Maybe there's some infighting, I don't know, but some details on what that exterior looks like. But this interior from Ferrari is now driving a new form language, EV or not, because the EV, I agree, will collect dust. But future Ferraris, now going back to the original, the 60s, the beautiful amazing. The Testarossas, those 250 GT cars, and those simple, clean interiors that are now reflected in the glass screens, even though I would like less glass screens, but I understand it's a swiveling center screen and the console, very clean and simple. That can work with a new direction of design language for Ferrari. It can work, and this is the design language that I think we need to kind of expect.
Well, I love where you've gone, and I'm theorizing here. This little city car you're showing, the interior you just showed, goes in this car. And my problem is Ferrari is a high-end brand.
Yes.
And I think part of the reason they revealed this interior first is because the interior is a selling point for the car. And if they just showed you the exterior and said, here's our new, for lack of a better way to put it, our new Macan Fighter EV SUV, everybody would go, and I don't care. The interior has got to lead the charge here, which is a weird backwards way to sell a car.
Yes.
The interior's got to lead the charge for you to go, well, pardon the pun, I want that EV anyway, because it's got that cool interior.
True.
Do you actually think this interior design is going to work its way through Ferrari at large?
I do.
Really?
I think it's a good new direction for them to start thinking about what if that could be applied to a future front-engine V12 with a simple, clean interior. That's the whole point of the 62 Ferrari GTO.
Sure.
The interior could not be more boring. It's kind of terrible to look at, but they're $70 to $100 million cars nowadays.
Sure, yeah.
But front-engined, beautiful GT car, voluptuous shapes, and the interiors kind of harken back to simple, clean. There will be models that will be more gussied up and, definitely for a Ferrari clientele that wants to be ensconced in the experience and that kind of thing. But I think that this experience, I mean, here's that part of that interior from the Newson car from 99.
Yeah.
And the shapes still relate.
Well, and good, you could plug this interior these guys have done into this city car and it would work. I do think this is an economy car, city car interior done really, really well. I cannot believe it has Ferrari badges. I can't.
It's interesting,
I'm
but
just
going all the way back to
I see a connective tissue.
Line
You've
here.
created connective tissue. I give you kudos there. Yeah.
But it ultimately comes down to materials because you've got your plastic toothbrush. What if that were suddenly cast in gold and polished? It's no longer a $2.99 toothbrush. It is now, it's got heft and weight and it's this voluptuous shape and wow, this thing's amazing. Well, made out of plastic, you wouldn't care. You throw it away after 2 months.
Maybe. I take your point.
So materials matter, which they have definitely addressed. But I think that's a good starting place for Ferrari, and I am interested and encouraged. And at first, I thought, that's a Honda interior. Boom. And it could be. But I have to go back to the referential images here to think for their high-end sports cars, the 250 Testarossas, for their flagship, oh my gosh, this is the car. Look at those interiors. I think it can work in the future. It's going to be a balance. So I say with an asterisk, not to completely disagree, but with an asterisk, because it could easily go wrong. It could easily be like, the exterior and interior, two different teams. It doesn't match.
I just don't think that car is going to sell. I think it's going to be the Ferrari they cannot sell.
I think it'll sit, but I think what this interior does, gas or electric, is define a new direction for Ferrari, and I'm intrigued that they started with the interior first instead of showing something like an 021C.
Yeah.
And saying, here's, not proportion. And you'd be like,
no, of course not. It's not a Ferrari, of
but
course,
these kinds of surfaces and design language suddenly show up in a new Ferrari and you're like, what's that? And then what's that interior look like?
Okay. Well,
I'm fascinated they started with the interior.
You are the guy that knows design, that's done design. You have all of that history, and I do not. So I give you a big hat tip to the way you dissect this. And connective tissue is a big deal here, and I think that's important. I'm very curious to see the reality of this because I think the car it's in is just going to sit. Nobody's going to buy it. I really think that's going to be the
car,
case.
I think it'll be, but they may have to require
it's going to be the
before.
car you have to buy in order to get a different Ferrari.
Awful.
It's going to be that.
Oh,
It's going to be that Ferrari for sure. But I'm intrigued by this whole announcement is kind of a crazy different direction from Ferrari. And what does it really mean? That's what we don't know. It's not what this is. What does this become in 5 years?
It's certainly fun to speculate, for sure. Moving on to a last piece of news before we jump into our topic Tuesday, and that is the 2027 Toyota Highlander 3-row 7-seater EV has been revealed. Comes with the North American charging standard port, so you can charge in any Tesla supercharger, DC fast charge from 10 to 80% in 30 minutes. pretty much just like every EV that's introduced in the market, 10 to 80% in 30 minutes. Sure. Yep. Same thing. And 338 combined system horsepower, 323 pound-feet of torque, and Toyota is leaning in. This is actually what we saw when we went to the Plano headquarters back in May 2025.
And they took our phones and said, "Let's show you a
It was
mock-up."
a concept.
Yeah, which
and
at Toyota that means this is coming. They just haven't given it a name yet.
They were kind of backing away from like, well, we're not sure. We're just showing this to you anyway. And here it is, announced, fully 3-row EV.
Here's what I find interesting about this bit of news. Now, Toyota has been late to the party on EVs. I'm surprised they're pushing this far, but they're doing something with the Highlander lineup that's kind of interesting. If you buy the Highlander, you get this. It's going to be EV only, just like this. If you buy the Grand Highlander, which is a slightly bigger one, you can get hybrids and other engine options. But this is going to be the straight-up Highlander, no asterisks, no extras, no Grand. It's not Grand, it's just Highlander. EV. Grand Highlander options. And they're going to do that going forward. There's been new regulation. The EPA is changing environmental standards, and the compliance credits that were given to auto manufacturers for having stop-start have gone away. So, and I'm not going to claim to have full understanding of how all of this works, because these credits forever have been super cloak and dagger mystery shell game stuff going on anyway. Environmental credits for manufacturers have always been really weird. But there used to be a credit if your car had a start-stop feature. So that means all of our cars have got start-stop, and generally people don't like it. I feel like there's two camps. There's the folks that don't care, and then there's the folks that really hate it. I don't feel like there's anybody that's like, my car needs to start and stop.
I really hate it.
I know you do, and I'm not a fan of it either. So what this means is it's no longer going to be a thing that is put on every single car. Or I think the other thing that it suggests is that going forward, this will be an option where if you turn it off once, it stays off. Because on a lot of cars right now, when you turn it off, you have to turn it off every time you start the car. And because you still have the option, which is good.
It became more intrusive.
But I could see a kind of thing where this is something where you say in the options, I don't want that to ever turn on, and then your car never does it. And for those of you that want to commute and want to have your car stop when you're sitting there, I get it. You're sitting still for 3 minutes. Your car's idling. Okay, I'm not against the concept, but it'll be interesting to see what actually happens here, because if the automakers don't get benefit from adding this technology, I think it goes away en masse.
I think so. It doesn't solve the problem with the cars that are already on it, but my 2015 Cayman had the button that stayed on. I left it on for 9 years. So every time I started the car, it was there.
Always hit it instantly.
I don't have to touch it.
I guess it's true. I guess it stayed set.
It stayed
Please don't
set.
do it.
Whereas the 2020, the 718, it defaults. Every time I start it and I forget, and the engine rattles to a stop at the stoplight, I'm like, oh.
And that makes no sense in that car.
Totally.
No sense in the GT4 at all. Interesting. All
totally.
Right. Since you're listening to us, you'll end up shopping for your next car. And when you do, you need Autotempest.com.
Any car, anywhere, at any price. Autotempest searches all the major car listing sites on the web, local or nationwide. And Autotempest has recently added price history for every car listed, so you can see how prices are trending and know if you found a good deal. You can also create search alerts and lists of saved searches, so you can find your perfect spec even easier the next time.
Search on any device, in your browser, or as an app for Apple or Android. New, used, or unexpected, Autotempest is how we search for cars. Go to Autotempest.com/everyday so they know we sent you. Autotempest, all the cars, one search. We have a cool Topic Tuesday for you, and I know where this Topic Tuesday comes from. I want to talk about that very briefly, and then I want to move on. The Topic Tuesday comes in from Kyle, and he says he'd like to hear our thoughts on the 3 best revived nameplates. So brand names for cars that came back. What are the 3 best that did it right? And what are the 3 revived nameplates that did it worst? And I know why Kyle's asking.
Okay.
Because he wants us to rant on why the Prelude is a failure.
Yeah.
That's where, okay.
Yeah.
And I will go ahead and admit that, yes, the Prelude has landed with a thud. So that could be in the failure column, but I'm not talking about Prelude here. I'm moving on.
Okay.
I have
all
3
right.
best, and I actually have 4 worst, because I have one that hasn't come back yet. I'm calling my shot.
Oh, really? This
So
is
I've got
exciting.
3 that are worst, and I'm calling one that hasn't happened yet.
All right, so the best 3 revived nameplates. I think we're giving ourselves any rules, and it just has to be within, the last 5-10 years? Somewhere, just general revived nameplates.
I'm thinking about stuff that's happened since the year 2000, where they brought a name back.
Oh, you're going back farther than I did.
They brought a name
actually.
back, because I feel like all of those cars are still on the road.
True.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they brought a name back, and did it work or not?
Okay. I'm going to dive in with nameplates, and I kind of blurred the lines here a little bit between nameplates and brands.
Okay, great.
A car brand itself. But I think for Toyota to bring back the Supra after the hallowed Supra, after what Fast and Furious did, and after what Toyota told us, and that was nobody was buying the A90. Or sorry, the A80. It was the prior generation. This is the 90. So the prior gen, it stopped selling. And then Fast and Furious movies came out, and suddenly everybody's like, Toyota, where's the Supra? And they went, well, you didn't
What are you
buy
talking
it
about?
when we had it.
The last couple of years, they sat on dealer lots. Now, there'd been a lot of changes in the economy, and they were now wildly expensive. But the last year or so, they had so much trouble making those cars move.
For sure.
Yeah.
So GR Supra for me, it's a fantastic car. They rethought it. It's turned out to be brilliant. It's got long shelf life here. I think Supras are awesome. And it said to the world, Toyota makes great sports cars again. We make awesome sports cars, and they brought back the Supra name. And I know there was hesitation, but can we all agree at this point? The Supra's pretty awesome.
It's great. That engine that got all the debate, the B58, is starting to be argued as the new 2JZ, because it's the engine that whatever it's in, it's great.
Because at first everybody's like, oh, you did what? You put a BMW 6 in it? Ooh, you're asking for problems.
And now it's an engine that people are lauding as a great modern engine. Pretty
and
interesting.
They added the manual. Everybody wanted the manual, and then Toyota said, okay, we'll give you the manual. So we've got both versions in a fantastic chassis. I think the styling is great. It's held up really well. And also this means that there could be a second generation new Supra here. So I think they'll keep it going, but
we'll see.
Toyota builds awesome sports cars again.
Yeah,
that's what
true.
it said.
It's very true. Yep.
Cool nameplate to bring back.
Love it.
Fantastic. Moving on to my second choice, and that is, can we all also agree that the MR2 is coming back? And for them to bring the MR2 back is a great thing.
I hope it looks anything like this image you're showing. This standard image that's online right now with this orange, really amazing looking angular small mid-engine. I hope it looks anything like that.
Yes.
I'm not holding my breath, but man, I do want this car to come back.
And you know what? We want that in the engine and drivetrain configurations that we all want. You know what I'm talking about.
You don't want it to be a hybrid only with a CVT? Is this what you're saying? Huh.
I didn't say that.
I said it. I'm saying it right now. It should not be that.
But what I'm insinuating is that Toyota has listened, and they brought the manual on the Supra. And so I'm just going to have my high hopes over here.
You're going to trust them that they're going to do it right.
They're going to do it right. They're going to maybe have 2 or 3 different kinds of configurations, and you can kind of choose. And then the one we all want, 400 horsepower, turbo, manual, done. That's it. Like just done. Turn everything off.
So. Yep, exactly.
Let's go drive, right?
Let's put the Johnny Ive interior in that and make it a day. That'd be good. Yeah.
Sure. And then third, the best. This is strange, but I think for Scout to be revived is a good thing. I think choice in this marketplace, specifically because it's body on frame EV. It's not
Okay. All right. Yeah.
chassis platform. We crib something from somewhere else. It's truck off-road thinking. It's Scout thinking EV. And there's huge amounts of interest. The design is fantastic. It needed to come back. I think they're doing a great job. I'm looking forward to Scout in general. I'm looking forward to driving it. They've got the range extenders, of course, which you could argue defeats the purpose because now we got both electric and gas engine on boards. And
I think it'll make it have a broader interest, though, to people.
But I think so, because this is like, okay, there's been the Hummer, the Rivian, the Jeep Recon, it's
for sure,
chassis.
For sure,
But that's how you build an electric car. That's not how you build an electric truck. So let's see what Scout can do. I'm giving them a hall pass before they come out. I think the styling is fantastic.
It does look good.
And
it looks like
they
brought it forward from the old Scouts. It does look really good. Even despite the fact it looks like a Rivian, they do look great. All right. Well, I'm going to jump into my thoughts here, but that's excellent, Paul. I really like it. You and I never consult, but we did have one overlap.
Okay. All right.
So I'm just going to start with the overlap, and that is, I agree with you. We should all just go ahead and acknowledge that the Supra is great.
Yes.
I cannot believe that they did it. I cannot believe that I feel like in mass, everybody's kind of come around on it. I mean, the hate on the Supra was heavy when it came out.
Yeah.
But it ended up being a great engine. This is a really good chassis. I think the design has grown on the people that hated it initially. I kind of liked it, but now I really like it. I wish the bigger car that the design came from, the FT1, had ever existed, because this design looks a little weird on the smaller
But
shape.
then everybody would complain like, oh, it's too big and heavy and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and I probably would have led that charge, so I have to admit it. But the other thing they did was a master stroke is finally coming out with a manual, and it was a correct manual. It's one of the best feeling manuals being sold right now,
Totally.
and it is not a BMW gearbox in feel, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
So the Supra is a victory. And the other thing about it, the reason it's a victory is because it sits at the right place in their lineup.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It didn't become a car that's down with the 86. And it's not a $100,000 vehicle. It sits in the right place in the Toyota lineup. So the Supra is a victory. Another revived victory is the Bronco.
Okay.
Ford nailed this. Now, I'm actually showing a Raptor, but Ford just nailed this. What people wanted the Bronco to be is what it is.
It's even better, I think.
Exactly. It's a direct competitor to the Wrangler, and even though you can certainly argue that the Wrangler may have better running gear for some rock crawling stuff, they took the success and the rabid interest that they had from the Raptor program at the F-150, and they went, okay, what have we learned here? And they applied it to the Bronco, and they came up with something that I think is a wildly successful victory. This is one of those things where the internet had strong feelings what the Bronco should be, and it came out, and we all kind of went, yeah. I mean, how often does that happen? That's pretty amazing. They really nailed it with the Bronco. And the last one is a car I cannot believe exists, and I think potentially is better than the original as far as in the general public's mind, the Alpine A110.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
This
superb.
was a race car.
Yeah.
This was a car that people knew about if you followed rally, and you might occasionally see one out in the public, but it wasn't like this was a common car. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't like it was a go-to car in its era. It was a race car. People knew about it. There were street versions, but it wasn't like, yeah, everybody has an Alpine A110. But when you and I go to Europe, there's a lot of them.
True.
It's not like a couple people bought them. We see much more of these than we do any Lotus product.
Yeah.
Think about that. That's amazing to me that the Alpine A110, a singular car from a brand that sells nothing else. Now they have an electric SUV, but at the time, a brand that sells nothing else, we see more of these than we do Lotus when we're in Europe.
And we're always like, oh, there's one.
Totally. The Alpine
A110
is a total victory and a fantastic revision, bringing back of a nameplate. So that one is top of my list of revivals, but I love it. Where are you going now?
I am going to a middle choice.
Okay.
And you might say that this is a cop-out, but I'm glad Honda brought the Prelude back because at least the Prelude name is back.
Okay.
And at least it could become a performance version, I guess.
We'll see.
TBD, we'll see. So I wanted to put it in like good, it's bad, but in the bad category because this is not what we thought, and I think it's an opportunity squandered by Honda.
I agree with that.
Bring back
there was a better car possible.
That's a great way to say it. So Prelude's name's back. That's good. Mm-hmm. You're leaning on your history. You're bringing stuff back.
Yeah.
But it's not the one that everybody wanted. It's not like So I guess it's still in the middle for me.
Okay. All right.
It's a middle choice, but hopefully you've seen our Prelude video by now. We keep talking about it quite a lot.
Probably too much at this point.
I wanted this to be a hot, powerful sports car.
Sure, as did everybody. Yeah.
Moving on to the worst category, starting off with the fancy EV minivan that nobody wanted. I love that Volkswagen also looked into their history to think, let's revive the bus. And as an EV, they called it the ID Buzz. I'm still really not sure where ID comes from.
I don't know either. But I'm sure we could look it up and find it out. But yeah, keep going.
That's the thing. The Buzz, Buzz, they went fully into electrification because of Dieselgate, leaving all that behind. But I think the smarter play would have been offering both. This is an EV platform, and then we put some cool rear engine in this and really lean into it. Whereas this is in name only.
Well, they're leaning visually very much on the old hippie van, the two-color, the whole thing, and trying to bring that forward and making it an EV. By the way, ID stands for Intelligent Design.
Fine. Great.
I knew you'd be excited.
I
knew you, of all people, would be quite excited about the fact that they did that. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah. Was it intelligent, Volkswagen?
See, this is the thing. I knew it would head you down that road. I knew you'd be like, really? Is that what we're going with?
Because if we're going to bring it back, I mean, why not sit over the front wheels? I mean, why not really embrace it and make it the quirky thing that everybody loved about it? Because now, if it wasn't called a Buzz and it was just electric minivan.
I don't know if you remember, more than a decade ago, when you and I were shooting the last gen Civic Type R, and the Focus RS. We were in California, and three of these came by us. And at that point, they were being tested in California. It was being called the Volkswagen California.
Yes, right.
And then they scuttled it and brought it back as an EV and called it the Buzz. There's an opportunity there. It just doesn't.
Squandered.
Yeah, that's the right word. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Moving on to the second choice, and that is something you might not have realized has lived and died. Dodge brought the Hornet back. Nobody cares.
Nobody cared. You're totally right. Yes. The Tonale from Alfa Romeo.
It
Tonale.
gave
Yeah, for sure.
Terrible name.
Yep.
The problem with this, especially, well, we didn't drive the Hornet. I can tell you, it's rental car spec at best.
Sure.
Best.
Yeah.
But the Toenail had a gas engine driving the front wheels and an electric motor driving the back wheels, and the torques were different, and they didn't talk to each other, and things got weird.
Yeah.
It was
You're totally right.
not good.
I've never driven a powertrain that seemed to be at war with itself more than that car.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's like fighting itself.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. Still, nobody cares. And more product from Stellantis, and that is the current Charger. The Challenger, everyone, has gone away. If you don't know if you're aware. It's the 2-door and the 4-door Charger.
Yes.
But the problem is they've come out with the EV version,
Yes.
and they also have the new 6-cylinder gas version.
The RHO engine, which is a good engine. Yeah.
If you want to know if it's an EV version, it says it in 6-point font, the tiniest font, and you can't tell. And so I think I'm right, but I could stand to be corrected here. I think the EV version is Daytona Scat Pack, and the gas version is just Charger Scat Pack. They're close.
I'm not sure. They're very close.
This is the problem. The website is not clear. It's actually one of the worst description because they lean into horsepower.
Sure, of course. Yeah.
Look at all this horsepower. Well, tell me how the power is made. Tell me the drivetrain. Tell me about the car. Don't just tell me numbers and stats and figures. And I know that you think that's what your customers just care about, but I think they're wrong. And so they have 2-door and 4-door, gas and EV. But it's very difficult to differentiate which is which.
And it's the
really
hood
pay
pass-through that is the giveaway. The hood pass-through you've got here, that's
exhaust pipes,
kind of the only visual real reference when you look at it at a glance. But still, yeah.
But this landed with a thud because even though it had all this 670 horsepower and burnouts, and nobody really cared because it was enormous and 6,000 pounds.
And
this
huge. It's huge.
6,000 pound car. A 6,000 pound car.
You're right. It's huge. You're not a fan. I get it. I get it.
There was a lot going wrong at Stellantis. They've actually taken a huge, multiple $billion write-down. I think new leadership is in charge. I think they're in the process of righting the ship, but it's not clear to me at this point.
They're bringing back the Hellcats is where they're going. Get back to what worked.
Yes, that worked. Why change? Let's, ain't broke, don't fix.
Regulation, that's where it went. Yeah.
I don't understand. We haven't driven this car. We've sat in it at the LA Auto Show.
But here's the thing. No one we trust drove it and liked it.
Right.
That's the problem.
And no one cared about this. Again, nobody cared. Nobody noticed. Nobody cares.
We wanted to shoot this car. I really, really wanted to shoot this car. Yeah. And everyone we trusted that drove it before us that didn't like it, then I watched their videos fall on their face, and I was like, it's not even worth the time and money for us to shoot it. And I hate to say that. I really do. I actually would like to drive the straight 6 turbo version. I think it'd be interesting.
And it makes more power than the prior V8, but again, because it has 6 cylinders, nobody cares.
This is, you know what? This is a fantastically large, spacious car in 2 or 4-door. There's a ton of space in here. The interior is actually very nice. I think there's a worthwhile car hiding in there, but the EV first really tainted it, frankly.
It's 6,000 pounds. The EV version is 6,000. Those are my top worst.
Okay. All right. I'm going to jump in here. I'm going to go straight to a brand you might not have expected, but I'm going to go there anyway. Can we all just agree that Lamborghini should not have brought back the Countach name?
Good shot.
They took an Aventador and they essentially body kitted an Aventador and sold a limited amount and called it the Countach. It's like the 800 something. There's an actual designation for it. But no. This is probably the most storied name in Lamborghini.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's either do a full car that is the Countach or leave it alone. And this is just a body kit. This is just something for collectors. It's a variation on the Aventador, and that's the other thing about it. It's not like the Aventador was just the Aventador, and this is the only alt. They made so many alts off the Aventador.
Yeah.
So many little body-kitted one-offs where they made 100 or whatever, okay?
Lamborghini, we make body-kitted one-offs.
This is just another one of those.
Yeah.
So anything where they could have made this feel more bespoke than maybe bring back the Countach, somebody sat down with, okay, here's what we're working with, the Aventador. Here's my body cues of the Countach. Let me figure it out. This is a fail. So there's the Countach. That's one of them for me. Another one for me is the early 2000s Pontiac GTO. This is a great car with the entirely wrong name.
Yeah.
If they just released this with any other name, I think it would have had the ability to actually be a car that was taken seriously. But the GTO had such muscle car street cred, and it had such angry styling street cred.
Monaro. This was the Monaro.
Yes, the Holden Monaro. If they would have called it the Holden Monaro, it would have been better. That would have been great.
Yeah.
So the reality is, this is soft, rounded shapes, which doesn't connect to the original GTO at all. It has no aggression in the styling. So here's a really cool car with the wrong name.
That should have not been called GTO.
Not at all.
We'll take anything else, right?
Take just about anything else. Give it a name that we haven't heard prior. That's the thing. It needed a name without history. The Monaro would have worked, but a name without history. Because this had Chevy Corvette power in it.
Yeah.
It was a decent-sized 2+2. Because it was an Australian Holden, it actually had, I hate to say this, a better interior than a lot of what GM was making stateside at the time.
Yeah, true.
This was a worthwhile car with a terrible name. Because everybody brought all the baggage I'm talking about forward. It's the same as the Prelude problem. Everybody brought the baggage of what it should be, and then it wasn't. Mm-hmm. But the sad thing here is this is a cool, worthwhile car killed by the GTO name. Another one that might be a decent car but wrong name, Chevy Blazer.
The Blazer. I was going to mention the Blazer. When you were talking about the Bronco, that's where the K5 Blazer, we've talked about this endlessly.
Everything where Ford did it right with the Bronco, GM dropped the ball with the Blazer.
100%.
For a while, and I'm actually showing the EV version here, for a while, the Blazer was the innocuous 5-seat SUV for the dad who really wanted a Camaro. It was pretty much the Camaro interior, which I actually kind of liked, with the vents that were also the temperature. Very cool.
It's fine. Yeah.
Shoved into a 5-seat SUV. And we drove it in RS trim and were pleasantly surprised by how well it drove.
Yes.
I have to give it props because it was a decent vehicle, but it's not the Blazer. The Blazer was GM's opportunity to really compete with the Wrangler and the Bronco at the time that the Bronco was coming back.
Draw the K5, just
Blazer.
draw the box.
Well, but it doesn't even have to be the old style, but just it can't be this.
I think it would have been more appealing. I mean, look at Scout, look at the Bronco.
But this was just
Wranglers?
another. This was an also ran, and that's the problem with it. And then, insult to injury, now let's make it one of our EVs.
Yeah.
Not only is it not the off-roader we hoped for, now it's an electric commuter. How lost in the woods are we at GM? This is like the bellwether of the ship lost at sea right
We're
here.
Celestique lost.
Seriously. So the Blazer is a big fail on a revived name that could have been Scout. You're right. It could have been, we could have had a world of
looks amazing.
The Wrangler, the Bronco, the Blazer, the Scout.
Amazing.
And
awesome.
I didn't put it in my list here, but Land Rover brought back Defender. That's been a success as well.
Yes.
Could have been in that pantheon of vehicles, and we have this electric thing that, frankly, now is on the same chassis as many other electric things from GM, including the Honda Prolong.
Yes.
What on earth? What on earth?
And you get CarPlay in the Prolog and not, anyway.
Yeah, seriously. And then I have one more. I have a fourth one, but this is because I'm calling my shot.
I've been excited to hear your fourth.
This is my fourth one.
Okay.
This does not exist right now.
Okay.
But based on what's happened here, you realize 2 of my 3 are GM products. Pontiac GTO.
I was Dodge heavy with
Pontiac GTO, and now the Chevy Blazer.
Okay.
The Camaro died recently.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no.
And I will admit, I just went on and found somebody's AI nastiness, but I'm very worried that the Camaro is going to come back as some sort of SUV monstrosity. It's going to have Camaro styling cues, and it's going to be another 5-seat SUV, and we're all going to remember when on the Camaro. I'm very, very worried that that's where the Camaro is going. And I am asking GM right now. You're not going to listen to me. I know there's going to be many, many board meetings, and I'm going to be ignored. I know. But I'm asking, if you're going to bring back the Camaro name, bring it back on the right performance vehicle.
Yes.
Don't do what you did with Blazer and GTO and make the wrong car, or even maybe look, I'll go this far. The Blazer we drove that was the RS, good SUV. Why is it called the Blazer?
Wrong name.
So if
This
you're going
could
to bring back
right
the Camaro,
name, wrong car.
make it an actual performance car. Have it compete with things like the Supra, the Mustang, even though the current Mustang's kind of lost its way in a separate thing. But have it be in that world. Have it be competitive and interesting. The last one was...
I want it to be new BMW M2 sized.
That'd be cool.
Like small,
yeah. Well, that's what we put it with the last time we had a Camaro. We put it with the M2. I'm just worried that GM's going to fumble and bring the Camaro back and be like, it's an SUV now. And here's why they're going to do it. Because they're looking at the Mustang Mach-E. They're going to go, well, that was a success, so let's make the Camaro SUV. I can't leave this on screen any longer, but it makes me hurt. Yeah,
disgusting.
It's all bad.
Wow. We're adding FCP Euro as our partners and supporters for both Everyday Driver and Hooked on Driving. For nearly 40 years, FCP Euro has been an industry-leading supplier of genuine, original equipment and OEM parts and performance upgrades for European cars.
That means BMW, Audi, Volkswagen, Mini, Mercedes, Volvo, Porsche, and even Saab. Paul, you have to call your brother-in-law and tell him FCP Euro is the place because, as I just said, even Saab. We're putting it in the ad. Anyway.
They offer a lifetime replacement guarantee on everything, including consumables like brake pads, wiper blades, and even oil filters. Buy a replacement, send back the old one, and receive a credit for the full amount.
For your Saab!
Plus, FCP Euro offers free economy shipping on orders over $49 and a 90-day hassle-free return policy for new, unused, and uninstalled parts.
So visit FCP Euro today for more than 300,000 parts ready to ship for your European car and your Saab. FCPEuro.com.
In just under a week, February 21st and 22nd, Hooked on Driving Mid-Atlantic is running at Atlanta Motorsports Park, so we will be in attendance. We're looking forward to that one.
Yeah, I've actually never done
just a few days away.
I'm very excited to do AMP. Yeah. It's actually a really cool track. You and I are both going to be there. A lot of HOD is going to be there, which is really exciting. So if you've thought about going, if you're in the Atlanta area, this is your event to come to. It's going to be really cool. I think it's almost sold out, but I think there's a little bit of space left.
A little bit of space in B and C groups, I believe. Okay. Also, February 28th and March 1st, that is also a weekend. Hooked on Driving is in California at world-famous Laguna Seca. That is a 92 decibel day, so we are kicking off the West Coast season, California season for Laguna Seca. We're very excited about that.
I'm going to stop there real quick because Laguna Seca is interesting for a lot of reasons, but they have all of their, how do I put this, angry neighbors. You bought an expensive house near a racetrack that's older than you are, and now you're mad there's a racetrack there. It's a whole other thing. But as a result, they have these noise restrictions, and this is 92 dB, which prior to now has been a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But Laguna has very publicly actually redone all their sound systems. And most, not all, if you have a big Z06 with a loud exhaust, it's not going to work. But most street cars now won't get sound hits on a 92 dB day. What you used to have to do, like right around the time we bought Hooked on Driving, if you didn't have a 103 dB day, you couldn't bring any fun cars. That's not true anymore. Most normal street cars that are performance cars will work on a 92 dB day at Laguna Seca. So that's actually happening that weekend. We're very excited about it.
Also for Hooked on Driving, flagship event for 2026, and that is Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. That is a weekend, May 30th and 31st. It's the weekend after Memorial Day in 2026. We will be there. We would love to see you there. 2 days on track. It's going to be a fantastic event. We will also be doing a podcast live from there. We're planning on that right now. And also, we don't know what's going to happen with the track in the future.
True.
We've been told one thing, and that is only club kinds of members and, members only sort of organization in Formula One and maybe a few special groups, but we're not sure. But nevertheless, you've got to come. If you've never been on COTA, or even if you have, you know how great a track this is, and the weather will be excellent. So just right before it gets summer hot, we've got great dates. So all three of these dates can be found at hookedondriving.com. You can register there. You can find out more information, and we would love to see you there. And we will also be at COTA in Texas too.
Mm-hmm. Yep, looking forward to it. Last thing to talk about, of course, is our pilgrimage trip. That is Germany and Belgium. That is the Nürburgring and Spa. 2 days of driving on Spa-Francorchamps, and one on the ring as an actual track day, not a TF Public Day. You want to come to an actual track day.
Yep.
Because it's 3 track days, a little more expensive than in years past, but this is also has some really nice just tourist time built into this trip. It is August 2nd through 9th this year. We have just a couple of spots left. So I'm encouraging you, send us your questions, everydaydrivertv@gmail. We'd love to get you on this trip because this, I think, we've done it for a decade now. And I am really excited about this itinerary. I think it's going to be one of the very best ever. It is worth the money. It is worth coming. You will have an amazing time. I am already like headspace in this trip, and it's August. I'm so excited.
August.
So you got to come with us. Few spaces left, so sign up now.
You can find that on hookedondriving.com, but you can also find that at everydaydriver.com/adventures. So you can register there, and you can also find out about the September Utah adventure as well while you're on there. We'd love to have you at all of these events for both Hooked on Driving and Everyday Driver. Tiash writes to us for our first car debate. Thank you for writing, Tiash. Really appreciate it. He's a big fan of the channel and tries to catch every podcast.
Thank you.
Tiash is a 40-year-old family man with 2 kids.
Okay.
Makes a decent living, but like many people with a young family, he doesn't have the flexibility to buy a new or lightly used sports car right now.
Okay.
We're going to sell him on
We're getting there, yeah. Mm-hmm.
A few years ago, Tiash set a goal to learn manual driving so that one day he could own a manual sports car. In 2023, he bought a new Subaru WRX, his first new car ever, as the practical and affordable 4-door that still offered some performance. It's been a great daily, perfect car to learn stick on. And right now his plan is to keep that WRX long-term as the daily, attend a couple track days each year to build skills. And then once it's paid off in about 3 years, he'd like to buy a dedicated weekend/track day, sports car while continuing to daily the WRX. Now here's where he's torn. Manual cars, he writes, are becoming harder to find. He doesn't want to rush into buying something new. Ideally, he'd like to pick up a well-sorted used manual sports car in the $40,000 to $50,000 range, preferably less than 10 years old, with noticeably more performance and power than the WRX. Seating isn't a concern, but his long-term goal is to get comfortable and used to that car on track, and then in a decade or so, potentially buy a new sports cars. But he says, with manuals disappearing, he's unsure what that future will look like. Says great used manual sports cars that fit this kind of budget and track use. What are those? What does it make sense to wait or buy a new sports car sooner, given where the market is heading? And any general advice for someone learning track driving on a realistic family budget? Tiash, really appreciate this. You've got a lot to think about, and I love that you're saving. I love that you're jumping in. You're diving into to performance driving, and you're right. With young family, growing family, you've got to balance needs. You've got to balance the budget. And regarding your manual transmission question, we're seeing now that buyers are picking up more and more manual cars, and in no way. I think we've done it. We've saved the manuals. In no way do I think that manuals are going away.
Yeah, I mean,
even 10 years from now, I think someone will still offer a manual sports car that will be good.
I think you've hit on something. I think there's no chance there will be no manuals on sale in a decade. The question mark will be, where are they in the market? Because what's happening right now is, and I find this fascinating, manuals are available between the bottom of the market and $100,000. And then they vanish and they pop up again in the millions, and everything in the middle is kind of not really available to you. I mean, you could make some exceptions with the 911 variants and that kind of stuff, but generally that's about what we're talking. Early 6 figures, they all vanish. They all become dual clutches and paddles, and then they pop up again in the Gordon Murray products or Paganis or whatever. So my concern is that all the manuals are going to go up high. I hope that
even the cheap sports cars nowadays.
I hope that the cheap sports cars continue to offer manuals. My real concern genuinely, since we've driven the Ioniq 5N and the Prelude, both of which do a good job of giving you sensations of controlling the car, and it's all fake. I'm very worried that manufacturers are going to lean into that too far. And we're going to wind up with, for the affordable end of the market, that the people that are spending lots of money can still get a shift-it-yourself manual because that's what they're buying. They're buying the high-end watch. They're buying the high-end car. They get the interactivity. And the rest of us, below $100,000, are going to be given fake interaction because we want interaction, but this is the way we're giving it to you. And I say that because it works in the i5N, it works in the Prelude, and both of them are entirely fake.
Yeah.
And it makes the cars more engaging to drive, but I'd like a car that's actually engaging to drive. And right now we're in a renaissance. There's a ton of stuff that is available out there in manual that is good to drive as a manual. And I hope that is around in 10 years. I believe with you, 10 years from now, manuals will be sold. I just am not sure where in the market.
Tiosh, I'm putting on screen right now a shot that I had on my phone from our Cayman GR86 comparison shoot. This was just, the cars were parked while we were doing something else. We were having lunch or resetting cameras or something. And it's a representative example. I also think your email is a representative example because I think, Tiosh, you're speaking to more than just you. I think
agree.
he's speaking to a lot of people. How do I get something now? How do I get a manual car? Our manual's going away. How do I get into track driving with as little expense as possible? And what's a good car? So these are two mid-engine and front-engine representative examples, even though you could chase either of these two cars. Again, I don't think... It's hard to make predictions, right? I would like to think that a Cayman will still exist. The Cayman will come back in some form, and the GR86 and some front-engine Toyota manual sports car will continue to proliferate.
Yeah.
Maybe it swaps. Maybe the MR2 comes out, and that's the Toyota mid-engine, and then Porsche brings the 944 back.
We do the reverse of this photo. Instead of 987 Cayman and GR86, we swap them. I do like that a lot. I'd love to put those photos back to back. That'd be amazing.
Something that's, who knows? But I think whether you're shopping now, whether you're shopping later, these are two great examples of relatively affordable to get into. And, higher mileage Cayman and a GR86, because I think these cars are going to be around a long time. Look how the NA generation Miatas, there's still a ton of them around. They're cheap.
Yes, you're right.
They're around,
absolutely right. Yep.
And they're so beloved, and there's such a community behind it that they're continuing to offer tuning companies and new products. And that product was never well designed by by Mazda, and so let's build our own new shift gate or whatever that is, So there's going to be continual investment in these cars. And so again, whether you wait a year, wait 2, wait 3, but I do want you to get into something sooner rather than later. And that is because when you're talking about the art and practice of manual driving, and then you want to go do it on track, I want you to have had the car for a while. I want you to have practiced heel toe and driven around on the street and driven on a road trip and a canyon drive and start to get used to the car, because this also sounds like a long-term car for him. He wants to get used to it, and then learn track driving with the car he's used to.
Yes, and then also, he says he's going to take the WRX, but he's looking for that more track-dedicated car, and then hopefully, because he said he's just turned 40, he's hopefully in a decade he can buy the more expensive, more heavy-duty track car.
Fair.
But he's training himself now. That is key, yes, for sure.
These are your great options.
I agree.
I'd love for you to have actually both, or be able to live with both for a while, because the dynamics are so different. And you can also argue that the best drivers in the world can apply their skills and jump in any car. It's not just the car they're used to, and it's not just the track that they're used to. And that's why they're so fast, because it's their car and their track, and you know everything really well. That's a comfort zone that we've both experienced.
For sure.
And it's a great place. It's so much fun because you know the limits of your car, you know what your car's doing, you know what that car does out of that corner.
And you know the track that you're on, all of the above.
Very satisfying. But then the best drivers can jump in any car.
True,
And a track they've just learned, and they're 7 laps in, and now they're doing the same things. Those are the pro drivers. So I want you to experience different cars. I want you to experience the mid and the front. So I encourage you to go inexpensive. These are two great examples. Get something sooner rather than later and start to live with it. But only you can answer the balance of time, balance of money to be able to do that. It's something to work into more and more. Now, regarding your track driving question, how do you get into track driving more? I want you to forget about all the stuff that track enthusiasts can get into. It's a rabbit hole, just like any industry. I've heard horses is the worst.
Oh, horses are bad. Boats are terrible.
Airplanes are not good.
Airplanes are very bad. Yeah. But you the buy-in's only the beginning on all of these things we're talking about. That's true. Yeah.
The part that we love best about Hooked on Driving is there are fast drivers that bring dedicated track cars, and they are prepped and they're sorted, and they are fast drivers and they're experienced. Those people are absolutely welcome. But what I love is when somebody comes in with something stock that's not that powerful. It's on street tires, and they are there to learn, because all those skills will start to transfer. And you can start to then think, oh yeah, tire pressures. Oh yes, I should get brake fluid changed. Oh yes, maybe a little brake upgrade, and then start to work slowly into it. But if you don't know what the baseline of your car can do, you don't know what those changes will do for you. You don't
True.
know what that
Yeah, true.
difference will be like.
Yep.
So I want you to bring whatever you have, and we encourage all of you to bring any car. We've seen Audi Q5s.
Yeah. I don't recommend you bringing an SUV, but bring whatever you can.
Bring whatever you can.
Totally,
SUVs are top heavy and, not great for track driving, but still, people bring whatever. We've seen Jeep Trackhawks and
yes, and I've seen an Altima and an early 2000s Sonata on track.
That's true.
That's the car they had. Bring it.
Come be coached. Come learn a track. Come start to learn those inputs and where to put your eyes and what track driving feels like and how very different it is than street driving.
Yeah.
And then start to work into things. And then maybe an inexpensive sports car comes into your life. And then you start to, those newfound skills. You've got, the WRX is going to be great on track.
It is.
I think you should drive it on track. I think that's your starting place is bring a WRX to a Hooked on Driving track day near you and get some coaching and start to experience a little bit of body lean and where to put your eyes and how should I approach this corner and where does my braking begin? Where does it end? And start to answer all those questions. And then that's going to start you down this path. And it's just easy, inexpensive. And you don't even have to drive that WRX really hard. You don't have to grind the brakes into dust and set them on fire and turn the tires into ash. And, you don't have to do all that stuff.
Well, while you're here on this photo, I'm going to add one thing for you, Tiash. There's a lot of conflicting stuff, and I don't think you mean for it to be conflicting, but there's some conflicting stuff in your email. I want to point out two. One of them is you would like a car that is more powerful than your WRX for your learn the track better car. The car you want to buy next, you'd like to be more powerful than the WRX. And then you ask later, general advice for somebody trying to learn track driving on a realistic family budget. The way to make tracking, and you cannot see my air quotes if you're not watching, affordable. Okay, it isn't affordable. We all have hobbies that we just spend too much on. Track driving is about consumables. It costs money to go, but then your car goes through stuff. The only way to make track driving anything close to affordable is to get a light, low-power car.
Yeah.
So you might get a car that is on paper, and the 86 is a great example, but the Miata is the other obvious example. My Lotus Elise is an example. Yep. These are cars that don't have the power on paper of even your WRX, but I will give you a personal example. I put some amazing Yokohama 200 treadwear tires on my car, okay? Those tires on just about anybody else would have been done in a track day. I did 5 track days and 5,000 miles on those tires and 1 set of brake pads in my Lotus Elise. And that has nothing to do with my driving. It has everything to do with the fact that the car doesn't weigh anything. It doesn't go through stuff. Conversely, I have not met a single person, beginner or expert, who has not gone through a set of tires and brakes on a BMW M car in one day. They could be first day at the track, or they've been to the track more times than you can count. And by the end of that day, that sedan, which drives wonderfully on track and defies physics, it needs everything. Brakes, rotors, tires, we got to start again. If we're coming back tomorrow, it's going to have to be all fresh stuff because those cars are heavy and they're defying physics. So the cheap way to do it, I hate to say it, is Miata or 86 because they're cheap to buy parts for, and they don't blow through stuff quickly. That is in contrast to your question, which is, okay, if I bought something in the $40,000 to $50,000 range, maybe less than 10 years old, what is that performance car? And I want to talk about some of those, but did you have more?
That's where I'm landing. I love that he's investigating all this. Questions are swirling, but these are great places. The Miata's a great place to start, but we've got to get him on track and start to feel what that track driving is like in any car.
Agreed. Yeah. Get that WRX out there.
It's like the skiers. When you see somebody at a ski resort and they don't have the latest, coolest clothing and the latest skis, and then they might duct tape on their pants and they've got some older skis and then they're bombing the runs and they're faster and better than everybody. Like, local. They know what they're doing. Skiing for a long time, local, and they're awesome.
Exactly. They've got a rusted out Subaru in the parking lot, but they are the person to try to keep up with.
Doesn't matter.
You're right.
Pro drivers or excellent drivers in a Camry, and they're smoking everyone because they know track driving. They know where to put their eyes. They know limits of the car. They can feel what the tires are doing. That starts to translate. So it doesn't matter the car to get into this great hobby.
Some things to think about, Tiash, on this, and I'm just going to put up some cars that are from compilations of us. You've already talked about 86 and Cayman. I've talked about Miata. Those are obvious. Even the Elise is obvious for stuff that's lightweight. Lightweight matters. MR2 Spider. would be a really fun, super cheap track car.
Yeah, that's good.
So buy something light and cheap, and you can work on it, and that's great.
Such a great day.
But
that was such a
yeah. I have right here
so
in front
good.
of me the first time we drove the GR Super, which was with a Cayman and also with an M2 competition. I'm thinking about cars that you're going to buy in the next few years, and you're trying to buy them for between 40 and 50 grand, and you want it to be a manual with more performance than your WRX. Well, all of these three, Supras, Supra, Cayman, or MR2. But while I'm here, what about a Nismo Z?
Oh, yeah.
What about a Dark Horse Mustang? It'd not be the first choice I would have, but it is a more powerful car. But then I've got the Supra again in that comparison. They're talking about the Nismo Z having a manual. That means that car's going to be every bit of 70 grand, but in 3 or 4 years, what's that car going to be?
This was 70 grand.
It was
just
70
with
grand.
the auto.
Exactly. But I think those cars are not going to find second buyers, and so I think there may be a deal on those. And the Nismo version of the current Z car is excellent.
Yeah,
and while I'm here thinking 40 to 50 grand, you can't get Namira for that yet, but I've got all three Lotai on screen. You can get versions of the Evora for 40 to 50 grand, and you can get Elises for 40 to 50 grand. Have you even thought about a Lotus product? I'm only showing you these photos, Tiash, just to give you hope.
Yeah.
I'm saying this is the stuff right now. If you told me between now and 5 years from now, I'm looking for cars like this, I've just given you like 6 or 9.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's all stuff that's more powerful, more expensive, all that kind of stuff. I still think you could stay in the cheaper end of the pool and be very, very happy. But I wanted to talk about those just to kind of give you some frame of reference.
Awesome. Tiash, thank you so much for your questions. Keep us updated with your progression, your journey. And again, I think this is speaking to more than just Tiash, because so many people have these kinds of questions. So we encourage all of you, use autotempest.com/everyday when you're shopping for those cars. And we look forward to hearing what you bought in the form of car conclusions.
Tommy is writing in from Texas. Thank you, man. He's writing in. He's asking, should two cars kind of become one here? He has a 2011 BMW 535i with a 6-speed manual, and he loves it. First manual he's ever owned, suits his needs very well, has a back seat large enough for 3 car seats. That is key. Now, we do know somebody, our friend Shane, that did 3 car seats in the back of a Fiesta ST. I don't advise that. I'd much rather suggest something like this Big 5 Series. He also has a year 2000 Porsche Boxster that he got intending to get on track, but he's had it for a year now, and he's realizing it's just his life isn't structured to take it to the track.
You could sell it to Tiash.
He could. That actually would work. That would be an excellent choice. So those are the two realities. And so he's sitting there realizing he also doesn't really have room to own 2 fun cars. So the Boxster stays under some coverage and the BMW stays out in the sun. He doesn't love that. So maybe he either replaces the BMW or he just sells them both and tries to get something that does all of the above. He's looking at Alpha Giulias because he could maybe spend as much as $25,000, which of course it's us, so I bumped it up to 30 to at least look.
Oh,
I went to Auto Tempest.
He said 20,000 range, then 25 max, and you're bumping to 30.
I'm bumping to 30. You said 25 max. Let's be honest. When you start searching, you got to look for at least $5 grand more just to see what the options are out there. So maybe as much as 25 to sell both of those cars. He said, could he get an Alfa Giulia for that? What about a Panamera? What about an Audi wagon? He's actually intrigued with something else European, but again, 3 car seats is a factor here. Doesn't need space. He does want something to be track worthy. Does need 4 doors. Decent back seat space. Where'd you go?
You know what has a gigantic back seat, manual transmission, is fun to drive, and inexpensive as a Civic Si.
That's a great choice, actually. That's really good.
We could almost call it done right there.
Yeah, okay.
The back seat is enormous.
It's bigger than it should be. It doesn't make any sense.
Depends on the car seat. You know, I haven't measured. It's empirical testing, but
it's just us getting in it. You and I are big guys. We get the backseat of this car every time and go, why can't everybody figure this out at this size? That's great. The Civic is excellent. Yeah.
Civic or the Mazda 3 hatch. You could get the turbo. You could just go for the hatch. I think this is going to be a little bit smaller. The backseat space is not, I mean, maybe depending on the car seats, 3 wide, but you know, gotta try it out. Gotta figure that out. Next on my list is G70 because we're talking car seats, not adults.
Actual legs. Legs is where this has trouble.
Yep. So
we don't have that problem.
This is why this could work.
You're right. It could definitely work. Yep.
And again, I'm thinking 2025. I'm showing the 2.5 Sport Prestige on screen right now, Genesis. And those were 49,000 new. So maybe you'd have to bump up a little bit, 30, 35. But this could be a really nice luxury option. You've heard us before. If you're looking at the Alpha, you've got to look at the Genesis.
I agree.
If you're looking at the Genesis, you've got to look at Alpha.
Totally
Same
agree.
kind of thing.
Yep.
And then I am showing the HRC Concept Integra because if we're going to talk about a Honda product,
Just blow the budget completely. It's fine. It's going to be fine.
I doubled your budget, and I'm just
very
saying,
good.
Integra Type S, again, this is the HRC concept, but it's a really sweet photo, and it's got a sweet wing, and I just wanted to tease you and tell you maybe Integra or something like that, because, if we're talking Civic Si, we've got to talk Integra Type S too.
Civic is very good.
I'm leaning more towards Civic than anything, because that is... they were 29 new. We recently last year tested a $32,000 version,
30s,
slightly used. It's going to be at the top end of this budget. Giant back seat, manual transmission, 200 horsepower, fun to drive. Bob's your uncle.
I like this. I'm going to jump to a couple of options here, but mainly I stayed in sedans because what I'm feeling from your email, Tommy, is that you want a more fun to drive car in the shape of your BMW. You like the manual.
That's good.
You like the manual, but it's
good.
not a performance car, but it is a big sedan. And you've talked about the Giulia. Would the Giulia work? Yes, I think you would love driving the Giulia. The steering on the Giulia is excellent. Now, your 5 Series, if it's not the X-Drive, I looked this up, the X-Drive had hydraulic, but he doesn't say he's got X-Drive. So the rest of them had early electronic power steering, which means the really good BMW feel you want is not really going to be in your car.
Yeah.
This Giulia in any powertrain is fantastic to throw around a corner.
Yes.
You're talking about Texas Hill Country, you would love this car in the Texas Hill Country. Now, my question for you is, I also think part of the reason you like that BMW is because it is a manual. How much are you going to miss a manual here? I can't really say. I think that's the real unknown in this conversation, Tommy, but I think the Giulia is excellent. Yes, you can do a Panamera, an early Panamera for under 30 grand. You can take options. Now, try not to get the base, but if you get an S or a GTS, if you can find one for your budget. By the way, some of the early turbos are down there. Don't do that. Don't do that. No. The early turbos were...
Tempting.
Very tempting. The early turbos, that engine was problematic, and they have not aged well, so be careful.
Yeah.
But GTS or S are down there, believe it or not. Early Panameras, I think that is a great choice. The dynamics you're hoping for, this really is the merge of your 5 Series and your Boxster, is a Panamera, so I'm glad it's already on your radar. I have others for you as well, though. Please go drive a Kia Stinger, because you might buy it.
Stingers are sweet.
Stingers are really, really good.
Sweet.
Tons of back seat space. You've got an actual hatch to work with for all of the plastic stuff that comes with kids. So you could throw strollers and madness in the back of a Kia Stinger and then still have a car that when it's just you, you'd enjoy those hill country roads. Get a GT and get the good turbo engine. I think you would love having a Stinger. And then I have a wild card as well while I'm here. While I was thinking about big old sedans, what's 5 Series with more attitude? What's 5 Series more fun? The problem I'm having with all of these is I'm not in manuals, which I don't like because you have a manual right now. But the Dodge Charger RT and up gets you into a V8. That is really compelling because it's a big car. Here's the thing. It's the size of your 5 Series and a little bit bigger with all the attitude your 5 Series doesn't have.
Just be like the SRT.
Massive back seats. Right? Well, RT and up gets you V8.
RT and up. Yeah.
So I'm showing, I think, a Scat Pack here. But then, of course, I have to say Chevy SS. Because if you want the auto, they're available all day long.
Yeah.
This is the performance car you wish your 5 Series was. And this is the one that you don't have to be precious like the Porsche. It's Chevy parts.
Not a Malibu.
Big trunk. It looks like a Malibu, but it's not. Big trunk. You can get it magnetic ride control. Here's the funny thing about these SS. If you want to get on automatic, you can get one right now for between 20 and 25, 30 on the high side. If you'd like to get a manual, you better bring 45 and go up. They have split themselves by more than 10 grand. It is crazy. So unfortunately, the manual's out of your budget, but these are excellent cars. Chevy SS, I have to bang the drum for this car. I think it's in my contract somewhere. I don't get a commission, but I should. Chevy SS is awesome and would answer this question. So Tommy, I hope something in here helps you. Though I have to say, your Civic is compelling. You could almost say Elantra in there too. I didn't bring these. I stayed in big sedans.
Okay.
But if he wants to go smaller, the Elantra and the Civic both have got great back seats. It's kind of shocking how much space is in those cars.
All right. Well, Tommy, thank you for writing everydaydrivertv@gmail.com. Topic Tuesdays, car conclusions, and car debates.
All right, we're already at 90 minutes in, so we're going to skip over the car conclusions, which we will get to. Thank you guys for sending those in. Yeah. We're going to go to Did You See This? And we're also going to do some audience questions because you guys have given us tons of questions, and thank you for that. I want to get to those for sure. But let's see. I have to talk about something that I can't help but laugh. So I have to put it in the Did You See This column. And this is as close to Olympic commentary as we're going to get. I'm sure many of you have been watching the Winter Olympics. I've always liked the Winter Olympics more than the summer. That's just me personally. I've been watching it when I can see it. There's been some great wrap-ups going on YouTube. I don't get a lot of chance, so I've been watching a lot of like the wrap-up compilations. They've been great. And I have to make fun of curling because I cannot believe that ice shuffleboard is an Olympic sport. And I also can't believe the level of celebration that happens when I hit your rock away from my rock. That I just can't make it connect.
I have learned about curling. I learned that the stone comes from a single source on the planet. That's about as much as I can tell you.
Seriously, if curling isn't sponsored by Swiffer, it's a massive missed opportunity.
Now I see Swiffer commercials, and that's all I think.
All you see is curling. Yeah, that should be everything. I feel like also, this isn't even the one I want to talk about. I'm going to move on. There is one sport that I have to put up on the screen here in a second that I cannot believe is actually a thing that exists. And can we just all laugh for a minute that doubles luge is a thing? Luge is already a weird sport. Luge is already the world's most hardcore version of sledding. Okay? You lay down. I mean, I think skeleton looks awesome, by the way, where you go head first.
Skeleton is crazy.
But luge, where you're steering with your ankles essentially while you lay down on a sled, is weird. But then the question I have about doubles luge, where an actual full-size person lays on top of another full-size person while they do luge. And I struggle. Here's my struggle. I struggle with what was the conversation that led to we are doubles luge partners.
And not only is it a sport, it's an Olympic sport.
Doubles luge. There is just no way I can wrap my head around this without laughing. I don't care. Men's doubles luge, women's doubles luge. And look, I know there are sex jokes available for doubles luge. I get it. Even if I take that out of the equation, this is ridiculous. This is funny.
Ridiculous.
What on earth was the progression that led to I'm going to lie on top of another person and I'm going to hurl myself 90 miles an hour while steering with my ankles? What on earth?
Bets were lost. Heavy drinking was involved.
Seriously.
Jokes were made. All of the above.
And the conversation, if you are a double luge person, please call this podcast for writing. I want to know the conversation that led to that person and I. We are doubles luge partners. Yeah. We are Olympic level doubles. I can't get there. I almost have to not look at the screen because every time I see a photo of doubles luge, all it does is make me laugh. I have to say I have belly laughed more in the last week than I have in months, and it's been entirely due to doubles luge.
Moving on to some great audience questions. Thank you guys. From Daniel on Facebook asking if you own a black or dark colored car, what are some non-tacky ways to add some color to the outside or the inside? And also, what are our favorite touch surface materials to see in a car? Real wood, aluminum, crystal, that kind of thing. So if you own a dark colored car, the best way to do it is to think of tone on tone, but light tones and dark tones. But if you're adding color, it's still got to be in the same tone. So a dark gray and a light gray. So you wouldn't want to go to a color that is full saturation. It would still have to be a neutral red. Let's use red or orange or something. So you wouldn't want to go bright saturated version of that color. You'd still want to think of adding black or white to that color. So you'd go a neutralized sort of color. That's why bronze works so well. And bronze works on any car color, I think.
You're a big fan of bronze, yeah.
I'm a huge fan. And bronze and all the different shades, you can go brighter, you can go darker. But what's great is if you've got a lighter colored car, you can go with a darker bronze wheel or a darker, it's less bronze and more gunmetal or, less saturation, less orange and less brown in it. And then if you've got a dark colored car, you can go some pretty bright wheels and just
bright
introduce.
Wheels are key. Get away from black wheels, yeah.
Even just a hint of color, like a champagne. It doesn't have to be bronze or gold. Just a light little bit where it kind of makes you do a double take. That's sophisticated and subtle. Now, regarding your question for materials, you've named all honest materials. And I like that car manufacturers are going back to that as much as possible. But there's a huge industry and suppliers to make a material look like that. And it is not, because it's much cheaper to make. But you've got to think, when there's real wood, why don't we go back to real wood? Well, there's airbags in the dash and there's crash safety standards. So you can't have splinter woods. That's why the veneers are so minuscule. They're microscopically thin.
Yeah.
But I do love where wood is going in cars. It's that open pore look. And the best news of all is piano black is going away. I mean, we're seeing less and less. It's shrinking, which is good. But I love aluminum. I like aluminum touch. I like pattern materials. And I like the fabrics too. I like that a lot. Just textiles.
Dammy is writing a question. How are you, man? He's writing a question that is close to where I am in life. He says he's shopping in a month or so for a $5,000 vehicle for their daughter who is about to be a driver. My son literally has just started going all over the place in the last couple of weeks in his Mini. He's having so much fun. He is completely in love with his car, and I am navigating the reality of being very proud of him, and also my wife who's going, do you think he's okay? And she actually knows he's a good driver, and she's not helicoptering him on this, but she's just having those normal mom things of, okay, but he hasn't texted me that he got there yet. Like, we'll get there. We're getting there. He's doing great. But Dammy is asking, he's looking on autotempest.com/everyday. He's looking for a decent driver for her, about $5,000. He thinks he should get her a hatchback or a sedan, but then he wonders, would his daughter appreciate a $5,000 old pickup so he can use it to go to the dump? Dammy, don't do this to your poor daughter. Don't do this. Don't do this.
Why'd your dad get you that?
Here's the thing I would say to you. Here's the thing I would say to you in order to best navigate potential disappointment in your child when buying them a car. Okay? Now, first off, no kid deserves a car. Okay? They're every kid on the planet. And I got a car, and my son got a car, but you have a roof over your head. Your parents are feeding you. Hopefully they're treating you well. You don't deserve a car unless you have a job and you bought your own car. No 16-year-old should demand a car. It's a blessing no matter what. My son's car was thankfully very cheap. He likes it a lot, but it was $4,200, which was very inexpensive, and he's still going to help us with paying stuff and a whole other thing. I think you want to get your kid in a car that they don't hate driving and they don't feel like you forced yourself on them. So what I think you do is, if you'd like a small pickup, Dammy, then buy yourself one. And then at that point, you push a car down to your daughter. I feel like, and I could be wrong, but I feel like if a kid inherits a car that's already in the family, they may not love it, but they understand. That car was already in the fleet, and that's the one you get to drive now. They may not love it. This is how I got a car. They may not love it. I got a car. Exactly. But they understand it. That car's around and available, and I can drive it.
Yeah. Yep.
If you're going to put a new car in the fleet, if it's for them, get something they want. Okay. Or get something you want and they get a car that already existed. But don't go buy a car you want for them to drive. At that point, they're going to be like, so you bought me a present you wanted.
You bought me a dump run truck.
Exactly. Don't do that. Don't do that. I mean, nuance here, family dynamics at work, but, the easiest thing is just they drive a car in the fleet. And if you're my son, I have to tell the story on him again. We told him we were going to keep the old Cayenne. He's like, I don't want to drive the Cayenne as my first car. And I went, whoa. There is no more spoiled child moment than I don't want the old Porsche for my first car. He has since recanted, but he loves his Mini, and that car was cheap.
Nate M. on Facebook asks if we think there's room in the 911 lineup for a new 912. All analog, no screen, static everything, manual transmission, priced around $70,000 or $80,000. A dumb 911. Here's the 911, and here's the dumb one.
I want to shake my head so much it hurts.
Yes,
I totally agree. Mm-hmm.
Bring that car and just think what the marketing team could write. Just think. We've gone back to our roots. We've gone back to the manual that enthusiasts love and the engagement, the dynamism that Porsche is known for. And we've offered our enthusiasts now the thing that they want and blah, blah, blah.
And it's also an opportunity, I can't believe I'm going to say this, to offer less power. You just go analog, less expense,
lighter weight,
less power. Yes, all of the above. 912 would be phenomenal. I love that idea.
It's the dumb 911.
Yes, I'd like that. Yes. Craig asked this question, and I can't entirely answer it yet, but he brings up a good point. He thinks Mazda made a mistake in getting rid of the command knob interface and their HVAC controls in favor of a giant tablet in the upcoming updated 2026 Mazda CX-5. What do we think? Craig, Mazda was the last holdout. They were the last ones.
Like, no.
Yes. And now they are leaning into, all right, I guess it's just a big iPad in the dash. I very much want, exactly, I very much want to drive the updated CX-5 for this reason. I'm bummed. I'm not surprised, but I'm bummed. And I think Mazda was still hanging on to knobs and buttons. And here's where I feel bad for Mazda. Here's where I'm actually bummed. Mazda may have caved right when everybody else decides maybe we got it wrong. That's my concern, because if the new CX-5 is this, now they're stuck into a life cycle of a car that is leaning touchscreens when all of their competitors are going to start pulling back. We haven't seen it yet, but that seems to be the sea change that's happening.
Jared, you've got a question on Facebook that I am going to run with.
Okay, good.
What is your ideal engine swap? What engine would you feel suits a car better than the one it came with? The Civic Type R engine in the Prelude.
Everybody's asking. There you go.
I mean, you kind of asked for it a little bit.
Fair point.
That's it. It just suits it better. Bring the Prelude back. Do I need to keep going on? No. Thank you guys for all your great questions. We really appreciate all the emails. You're doing a great job. I want to continue to encourage you. Write Topic Tuesdays car conclusions. The Topic Tuesdays are great. They're really good. Very fun. Thinking it makes us dig in, and then
it's awesome.
We get our list. So if it's a list-based kind of thing, those seem to do really
You're
well.
all about the list. I love it. It's great.
The list. Well, everybody loves hearing about the list. The top three, the best three, the worst three, the top five. Whatever the lists are, we love the lists. And those car conclusions are great, and those car debates keep them coming, guys. Looking forward to next time as always. Cheers.